Single day is the biggest revenue contributor for the company. Competition for consumers' dollars in this event is intense. TD app is the gateway for our customers to browse and secure premium products at jaw-dropping prices. The daily load from the TD app ranges 10,000 hits per day. During the single day, the estimated daily load is expected to increase to 100,000 hits in an hour. TD app is hosted on a three-tier architecture with HA4C, Apache Web Server, and MySQL Server database. The Apache Web Server is estimated to scale up to 100, and the MySQL database to scale to 10 in the single day campaign. Let's look at the current infrastructure capacity and start to plan for this expected increase. I logged into Nutanix Business Central. I was presented with a beautiful dashboard which allowed me to understand the current state of the infrastructure. In order to plan for the TD app to scale out during the single day campaign, I need to understand what is the current infrastructure utilization now. I click on Planning, Operation, Planning. I click on the Capacity Runway. In my current infrastructure, I have these additional clusters. I can click on the clusters. I can look at my resource utilization in terms of storage, in terms of CPU, in terms of memory. So let's click on the CPU utilizations to understand my runway for the last couple of days. Alright. Next, I can click on my memory utilization. I can understand that how my infrastructure was using it at the moment. I can also click on optimize resource. Right, I need to understand that is there any over provision VM that we can reclaim back, or we can also look at whether is there any constrained VM, meaning that the application required more resources than allocated hardware specification. In the planning screen of the Nutanix Business Central, I'm going to create a new scenario to take in the additional workload that was required for the single day. So let's click on the single new scenarios. On the right hand side of the screen, you can see the capacity runway for these current clusters. Nutanix utilize machine learning, right, and correct the production utilization statistic to generate this predictive capacity runway. But based on the current utilization, this current infrastructure was expected to last for the next 365 days. On the left hand side of the scenario, you can see that there is my existing target of 6 months, which is going to coincide with my single day actual production use. I'm going to click on that particular workload. So in this particular workload, I'm going to add in 10 additional database servers. Right. I also going to add in my Apache. Right. This is actually going to be a VM. Right. I'm going to use the Apache web profile. I am expected to scale up to 100 Apache web servers during the peak. So let's put in 100 and then let's click on save. You can see that immediately my capacity runway has shrunk over to 55 days. We will not be able to meet the operational requirements of at least 6 months. Click on recommend. Nutanix will generate the number of additional infrastructure to meet the capacity runway. Based on the expected workload for the single day, I will require additional 7 nodes of Nutanix NX306037. Right, click on the generate PDF on the top of the screen. Scroll down the capacity planning report. On the left hand side of the screen, I can see the capacity runway will be 59 days after factoring in the additional infrastructure for the single day. If we actually purchase the additional 7 306037 nodes, we will be able to extend that capacity runway to 365 days. We will be able to make our operational requirements. Let's click on Nutanix account. Let's view into the TT application. Let's click on services to understand the current infrastructure of the TT app. There are three Apache web servers, MySQL servers, and a HA proxy servers. I can also click over here to understand how, as an application developer or as an operator, I can access the different actions available over here. Right, so this you can see is the action to scale up. So we're going to make use of the scale up action to scale up the Apache web server later. During the single day campaign, the number of concurrent requests is expected to hit 100,000 an hour. The demand may also start to slow down after 2 a.m. before peaking at 9 a.m. the next morning. Let's look at how Nutanix allowed me to automate the horizontal scale out of Apache web server to meet this dynamic demand. Let's go to the alert policies to create a new alert policy. Right, let's create a user-defined alert policy. You can see that over on the left-hand side, I can select the entity that I want to monitor. In this case, this is actually a virtual machine. I can choose to say that whether this is all virtual machines or a specific virtual machines. So in this case, I want to choose my HA proxy. I can choose a particular metric. In this case, it's a CPU utilization. Right, and I want to alert when the CPU utilization hit a certain limit. Like for example, it could be 90%, and if the condition persists for 10 minutes. I'm going to create a playbook. Let me just get started. So in the playbook, I'm going to trigger the condition based on an alert. So in this case, I'm going to choose HA proxy. Right, and it's going to apply to all the virtual machines. Right, I can choose many different actions. So you can see there's a wide range of actions that I can use to automate the setup, whether to add CPU, add memory. Let's look at an existing rumble. Let's click on scale up TT app. So in the scale up TT app, you can see that the alert will be triggered and followed by an acknowledgement of an alert, and then followed by calling REST API to Nutanix CAN to perform the scale up of the operation. Let's understand the current utilizations for the HA proxy virtual machines. I can go to my analysis, right, and I can see that there was extremely high utilization yesterday from around 7 p.m. to around 10 p.m. Subsequently, that the utilization was empty. Let's go and generate the load. Let's open the terminal for the HA proxy. Let's start to perform the load. As we start to create the additional load, you start to observe the CPU utilization for HA proxy to go up. Let's wait for 1 to 2 minutes before we observe that the alert was triggered, and then subsequently it will trigger the scale up of the Apache web servers in TT app. Let's look at the alert mechanism. I can see that the alert has been triggered, and let's look at the playbook for TT app. So I can also look at for the TT app have actually been scaled up. And let's look at the application, the TT app over here, and I can see that the scale up have been done. And if we look at the Apache web server, it has scaled up to 4. Nutanix Prism Pro platform provided me a centralized view of the current utilization of the IT infrastructure. The machine learning capabilities allow me to perform the capacity forecast based on the current utilization and estimated workload required for a single day. I could set up additional monitoring on other critical applications and reuse the human-like workflow of the playbook. Nutanix Prism Pro platform allowed me to transition to self-pilot data centers without the complexity. Awesome Nutanix, I can now make my single day requirements.